to today's discussion, which is part of a series on the exhibitions Iconoclash and Les Immatériaux in collaboration with the Centre Pompidou Paris and in the framework of the international praxis-based collaborative research project Beyond Matter. We are here today to discuss an exhibition that took place 18 years ago at ZKM. This exhibition is called Iconoclash, Beyond the Image Wars in Science, Religion and Art. And it emerged from the collaboration of an international group of experts led by Bruno Latour and was mounted under the executive curatorship of Peter Weibel in 2002. Among others, Bruno Latour invited Boris Groys as a member of the advisory board to the project. He contributed the exhibition with a selection of films and works of video art, as well as an essay in the catalogue. So, welcome, Boris Groys, and thanks for accepting the invitation. And my first question would be about the advisory board. And you were a member of it together with Hans Belting, Dennis Laborde, and Marie-José Monzain and Heather Stoddard. Despite being advisors, not curators, you also contributed to the exhibition with a selection of artworks, as I mentioned. So why was this division decided for between curators and advisory board members? Was there any difference in the preparation process?
That was not very clear to me. I must confess I was not so much interested in the organizational structure of the exhibition. I was much more interested in the topic of the exhibition and my contribution. And I think the idea of contribution emerged in the course of discussions that I had with Latour and Weibel and other people at that time. So it was in the process, everything.
And your part was reduced to the medium of film. Thus, it was a moment of filmoclash created in the Iconoclash exhibition, which was actually not exceptional, since another cluster, which was called musical clash, was also part of the show, being curated by Dennis Laborde. And could you maybe describe your selection and how Filmoclash actually looked like in the exhibition? Because to be honest, after 18 years, it's not so easy to reconstruct.
Oh, you know, as we discussed this Iconoclash topic, it became clear to me that the main question was, what does it mean to produce an artwork that is an artwork at the same time is iconoclastic? Yeah, that is a classical problem of the historical avant-garde. And of course, the artist decided or answered this question by making paintings that were not at the same time representational. So the traditional image was always image of something. So to create an iconoclastic image is to create an image of nothing, or image of no, having no referent, no model in the outside reality. So I asked myself, speaking about cinema, what is the topic of cinema? Obviously, what is the object of representation for cinema? Obviously, for a film, the object of representation is movement. And so my idea was to select and present films that were interested in removing the movement, in removing the objects that constitute films, movies, yeah, they're called movies. In English, very often to remove movement from the movies. And these films without movement or with very reduced movement, yeah, or videos, yeah, that rejected to present movement is very good examples, of course. Andy Warhol, Sleep, or Empire State Building, that there's no movement. They were selected and shown in a very traditional way, not in one part of the exhibition, but I think that was 5 or 6 closed boxes or black boxes, traditional for showing films and videos, and they were integrated in the general space of the exhibition. So you could actually experience different ways in which the filmmakers tried to sematize the movement by sematizing the absence of it.
Mm-hmm. You also mentioned quite a lot of Hollywood movies, Hollywood productions in your essay, and among others, The Matrix, for example, and so on. So were these presented in the exhibition in a certain form?
They were presented in a form that I made earlier, before this exhibition. I made a video, the video Iconoclastic Delights, and I included in this video small fragments from different movies, including also Matrix, that shows the absence of movement, moments of absence of movement, or extremely slow movement, yeah, like slow movement of a bullet, yeah, of a bullet in Matrix. So what I was looking for in this iconoclastic delights were quotations or scenes from the commercial movies that could be interpreted as iconoclastic, and in certain ways they were also iconoclastic, by the idea of Matrix is that our whole world is an illusion, yeah, and movement is also an illusion. So we have here a kind of commercial version of the iconoclastic gesture I was looking for.
I see. It is actually not completely clear from the catalog, and since we are trying to visualize the whole exhibition again, I was curious about this, and it's of course you are the best source of information.
Well, you know, ZKM edited later a kind of book or collection of my videos, 3 videos under the title Thinking in Loop. And Iconoclastic Delight, that was a part, 1 video of the 3 included into this selection. So you can find it, yeah, you can find it.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I was going to ask about the Malevich's Black Square and Black Circle and Black Cross, which were part of the exhibition. And Peter Weibel and Adam Lowe, and also you refer to them in your essay in the catalog. The question would be if the presence of these works or any other works selected by other curators influence your selection. If the curatorial process was a collaborative process, or if it was rather your idea about movement and its iconoclastic qualities in the film.
Well, you know, I worked on Malevich and wrote on Malevich for a very long time. Also, before this exhibition, I also gave a couple of lectures on the Black Square at the ZKM and HFG, the school in Karlsruhe, and discussed with the colleagues. So it seems to me that it could be a source for inclusion of the Black Square, references to it actually. And of course, not only for me, but in general, Black Square of Malevich is the kind of basic example of pictorial iconoclasms. Yeah, so presentation of the iconoclastic gesture as icon. Yeah, is basically what it is. He was very interested in the icon, Russian Byzantine icon. If you look at his works in the 1920s, you see this analogies and parallels. And at the exhibition, he has shown for the first time the Black Square. He put it in a classical position of the icon in a Russian room. Yeah, so into the corner, not on the wall, but into the corner. So he understood Black Square as an icon, but it understood the Black Square as an icon of iconoclasm, rejection of iconicity. And he speaks a lot about this rejection of the icon as a representation of whatever world, be it a real world, be it spiritual world. He wanted suprematism of painting. Yeah, when he speaks about suprematism, he speaks about suprematism of painting. So it is a painting as such that had to demonstrate itself and not something else. And I think that is the main idea of tradition of iconoclasm as, let's say, artistic device. Yeah, what for me was important is to understand iconoclasm not as something directed against art, but iconoclasm as artistic device.
Yeah, Bruno Latour tried to also make it very clear from the beginning on that Iconoclash is not an iconoclastic exhibition, but rather an exhibition on different sorts and types of iconoclasm. I believe that you also developed this idea with a text on curator as an iconoclast. In which you open up the question of curating, if curating is an unintentionally iconoclastic act, even if it's programmatically iconophile. I would like to ask whether this text was influenced by Iconoclash, even if it wasn't explicitly included in the text, or was it based on a different ground?
I think it was based on a different ground. Actually, one of my first I don't remember because yeah, actually Peter Weibel, I believe, published this text, or maybe not. One of my first texts was about das leidende Bild. Yeah, yeah, not das leitende Bild, yeah, but das leidende Bild. So the idea was that the avant-garde art and modernist art in general can be interpreted as a torture of the image. Yeah, so like religious icons show us torches of body of Christ and bodies of saints. So avant-garde and modernist art can be interpreted as torture of body of the painting itself. Yeah, and we can describe in this way also Cubist paintings, because it's everything about fragmentation and destruction of the organic body. Organic body is represented in the organic body of the painting itself, and so on and so on. So you know, I was always interested, also because my people, artists I was working with, were very much interested in iconoclasm. Like, for example, Ilya Kabakov, with whom I collaborated a lot in the 70s. So the idea of presenting disappearance or dissolution of the image through the image itself, that was a tactic of many artists I was collaborating with much earlier than this exhibition took place.
Mm-hmm. But still, you decided for film as a medium to represent, not your collaboration with Ilya Kabakov, for example.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, because you know, under the two impressions, first of all, almost everybody told me, I mean, not from the advisory board and not from my colleagues, but when I was speaking about avant-garde and iconoclasm, the disappearance of the image through image before, the answer from the public and from the friends were always, okay, it's all true, but it's true for that time, yeah, for the beginning of the 20th century. And now we are living in a different age, yeah, we are living in the age of film, we are living in the age of television and now internet. And it has all to do with images and proliferation of images. Already Malevich himself, yeah, when he's speaking about cinema, he stresses the fact that the cinema is a massive return to the traditional image after the pictorial revolution of the avant-garde. So it's a kind of iconophilic regression or iconophilic counter-revolution. So this relationship between classical ways of iconoclasm and the return of the image through the media like film, television, and also internet, that became to be very interesting to me. And I thought this exhibition is a good opportunity for me to reflect on that. Yeah, so a good opportunity for myself, yeah, to reflect on that further, but also to present this reflection to the public. And so thinking about that, I came to the conclusion, as I said, that there is an iconoclasm in film. It has to do with stopping of movement. yeah, that is iconoclastic gesture. But at the same time, I began to write about the internet because for me, the iconoclastic aspect of internet was a metadata. So through the internet, every image is reterritorialized, yeah, if we speak in terms of Deleuze. And that means that every image gets address, yeah, time of its appearance, time of its disappearance, time of its use, and address, territorial address in the system of internet. And all this data remain intact through the whole movement of the image. So we have also here a kind of stoppage of the movement. Yeah, and I wrote some text about that around the same time and later, but it was not included into the exhibition.
Yeah, it is somewhat peculiar that counting on the or considering the fact that you published already before the exhibition extensively on avant-garde and specifically on Malevich. Still, Peter Weibel was the curator who worked with the topic of the avant-garde in this framework and worked mostly with painting and more traditional or non-digital image in the framework of Iconoclash, and your part was rather concentrating the moving image. But not the internet. Although there were very few digital pieces in Iconoclash, which is understandable. So in 2002, the internet was maybe not yet as ubiquitous as it is now, although already in 97 there was a net art section at the Documenta, which is 5 years before, but somehow it didn't make it to Iconoclash as strong as it maybe should have been. What do you think about that? Was it an abandoned topic a little bit? So iconoclasm of the internet or online iconoclasm?
Well, I had a feeling that the whole problematics of the iconoclash, iconoclasm, iconophilia was traditionally related to earlier media and cultural practices. And I think that in a certain way, the exhibition was motivated, of course, by the rise of Islamic motivated iconoclasm. Yeah, so the topic of iconoclasm had to do at that moment primarily with the destruction of the old traditional artistic values, I don't know, images, statues, and so on and so on. So there is a certain political context in which this exhibition was made. It is not so obvious in the exhibition itself, but the context was there. And I think this context dictated also the way in which exhibition was made. For example, with this interest for the iconoclastic aspects of Reformation. And so the exhibition reminded that this radical iconoclastic movement took place also in Europe. Yeah, they are not specifically Islamic. Now, but I was more interested, more and more interested in film and internet at that time. So in film, I did it in internet, not so much, but actually I did it also in different form about the internet too. Later, we organized with Peter Weber an exhibition about religion and media. And that was actually an exhibition in which I tried to reflect on spreading and stabilization both these movements of the images related to the traditional religion on the one hand and a new media on the other hand, because it's interesting that at that time, maybe now not so much, but at that time it became clear that religion very much profited from the internet, and it profited precisely because it was using images that were stabilized through history, images that were tautological and easily reproducible. So yeah, you have an interesting interplay between movement of stability, canonicity and change, and that is what I was interested in, and we did it later with Peter Weber too.
Yeah, indeed, religious images play a very important role in Iconoclash. But maybe now I would shift the discussion a little bit to our current idea or current work and project in which we are creating a digital model of Iconoclash. And this is an endeavor which relates to some of your topics of expertise. So you published extensively on curating in the post-internet age, on mechanical versus digital reproduction, and art on the internet, as we touched upon these topics already, or you mentioned them. And so in this case, we are going to create a sort of emulation of the exhibition Iconoclash digitally. And I would be very interested in your opinion. So what do you think? Can one resuscitate a scenography of an exhibition? And can one do it in a way that the core of the concept remains intact, even if this digital model is not the digital twin of the original exhibition?
Well, it's a very difficult question, of course, and it's very much dependent on the technology, I think. So I know some projects of recreating exhibitions in a digital way, using technology similar to the technology of the Second Life project. So you create an avatar, yeah, and this avatar is moving. It's a kind of video game, yeah. Mm-hmm. You create an avatar, and this avatar moves through the exhibition spaces and can come closer to the image and go away and go relatively fast through the exhibition, or maybe stand at a certain place and so on. So you create this effect, which is, I think very interesting. And then one heard also, of course, of using virtual reality for recreating exhibitions as virtual real space. So you use a more sophisticated technology to recreate this effect. I think what, so I don't know about virtual reality. I didn't use that. But you know, an exhibition, and especially an exhibition that borders on installation. So exhibition in which the space and context play more important roles than individual images. If you have to do with this kind of exhibition / installation, then it is a very important experience to be inside it and to move inside this exhibition space as a kind of part of a real world, yeah, moving your, so to say, a real body. And by moving this body to look at this exhibition, not from the external perspective, as a spectator, like we look at the painting or sculpture, but from within. So to have this feeling that we really enter the space of the exhibition. Of course, I visited some projects of reenactment of exhibition. For example, in Venice was a reenacted exhibition by Zeman, when attitudes become form, some years ago, and there were also other projects of reenactment of exhibition. It is interesting experience precisely because such a real reenactment, yes, material reenactment, because it doesn't look like an original exhibition. Yeah. There are some shifts and some interventions of reality, of contemporary reality into exhibition that makes it similar and at the same time dissimilar for what was before. I think what's interesting about exhibition in general is that it is object on the one hand and event on the other hand. Mm-hmm. So it is an object, but when we speak about object, we think object is something stable in time. But exhibition is not a performance, it's not a public event. It is an object, it is a system of objects, but it is temporary by definition. So we have an object that is created and dissolves itself, and the fact that it dissolves itself is also important because it is this fact that it dissolves itself that allows to repeat it. Yeah, the possibility of reproduction is given only by the fact that this object doesn't exist, let's say, potentially eternally, yeah, as a painting. So we have this complicated condition, and I think whatever answer we find to this condition, the result of it will be in one way or another the production of nostalgia. When I see digital recreation of the exhibition or material reenactment of the exhibition, I always would think, oh, why I didn't see this exhibition originally? Yeah, why I missed this time? When I would be there, have been there, then I would be able to compare, I would be able to understand, I would be able to judge. I would be able to experience this wonderful first exhibition, yeah, as a model of all other recreation. I think that is this mythical or half mythical nostalgia of the past that maybe never happened, yeah, and is forever impossible to reach. Yeah, that is fascinating by all this reenactments or remodelings in whatever media. It is this kind of feeling the past remains the past. Yeah. At the same time, of course, it is an important information, and we have experienced nostalgia for the past only if we are informed about the past. Yeah? If we are not informed about the past is in the past, yeah, and it's not relevant for us. So it is a production of nostalgia, and as such, it seems to me very productive and very inspiring, I must say.
So you wouldn't say that it's a negative feature to produce a certain feeling of nostalgia? Why?
I think it's very positive. I think it's very positive. You know, it's very positive because it gives to you a certain kind of impulse. Yeah, I know when you go back to an artistic event of the past in a way that you're informed about it, but at the same time you cannot really see it, you cannot reach it, you cannot be a part of it, then it produces nostalgia, but it also animates your imagination. You will think maybe it would be different. Maybe it was not like they do it, yeah? So maybe I will do something. Maybe I could produce a renovation, not renovation, but resuscitation of this event in a more interesting way. You know, that was the whole idea of Renaissance, yeah? Yeah. Let us experience Greek and Roman antiquity in a more interesting way as they experience themselves. More authentic way, but maybe also more interesting way. So all the idea of reawakening, resuscitation, regeneration, renaissance, reenactment, all of them are very productive in our culture. We're always very productive and remain very productive.
Yeah, we also brought in the term emulation, which is a little bit different. So actually, in the beginning, it was a question for us whether we would like to deal with any of the terms starting with re, exactly for the reason that they are creating a certain type of nostalgia, as you formulated it, but eventually it's not a negative feature at all, and it is quite interesting that you are mentioning this, because when we had a conversation on this idea and on this project with Bruno Latour, he shared the opinion that a digital presentation of an exhibition or digital emulation is a completely new platform. So this exhibition model is going to be accessible on the internet and also via a sort of media installation, which is going to travel from place to place and will be exhibited. And he said that a simple iteration of the exhibition in the digital realm wouldn't be appropriate, because it wouldn't be specific, or it wasn't specific to its medium. So he said that the topic of Iconoclash was discussed in a certain manner in the framework of the exhibition, and again it was different in the catalog, and now this this online iteration shouldn't be an exact iteration, but should be something completely new.
Well, we are living in a time, I mean, since beginning of the middle of 19th century, we are living in a time of, let's say, technological change going through different generations. Yeah, so we used certain kind of machines, and now we use certain kind of internet, and so on and so on. When we speak about digital, it's not neon, of course. It is hardware. Yeah, it is electricity. It is a kind of assemblage of computers, monitors, cables, and so on and so on. So it is also a certain kind of technology, And what we are speaking about is a reproduction of the old art forms or art events. They transfer from one stage of technology to the other stage of technology. The question is, of course, if this change of technology of production is also a change of the form and, as they say now, content of this event itself. It, of course, is, yeah. But what is alternative to that? Alternative to that is to recreate the whole technological cycle that in which this exhibition was mounted, and maybe the whole psychological and political context and so on and so on. So if we want to achieve authenticity, we have to recreate the whole context, maybe the whole world of that time, maybe the whole earth of that time, yeah? We never stop, we will never stop. So every decision to stop, to cut something, yeah, some event or some image from its original context and move it to the other context, to the other technological context, is always a terrible decision. You know, Walter Benjamin speaks about loss of aura, and loss of aura is precisely this removal of the image or object of art from its original ethnic, psychological, political, historical, whatever context. And Heidegger speaks about turning artwork is a pure thing, yeah, that doesn't say anything through its musealization, yeah, and it's the next step in this musealization. So we have this loss of aura, but at the same time, this image or this, I don't know, exhibition in this case, acquires a new aura. And we can expect that after this digital era, which is already at the end, it's quite clear that technology basically will not change for some time. We can expect a new technological break, a completely new technology, and then it will be rewrite on this new technology, and we will be speaking about the loss of aura of this digital model. You know, when we read Walter Benjamin, he speaks about the film, yeah, as having no aura, and born without aura, yeah. But of course now, in time of internet and video and so on, some old movies seem to us to be very auratic, totally auratic. So the emergence, loss of aura, a return of aura, new loss of aura, it's a kind of rhythm in which our culture is moving. And so we should not be afraid to participate in this process. It is a kind of normal process. And every step of this process, we think something is lost, something is irretrievably past, something is inaccessible on some ontological level. And it's good that we feel that because we understand then our technological development in which we live, in the middle of which we're living, not as a progress, but as a complicated interplay between winning and losing, getting access and losing access.
Yeah, that's a very interesting way to access this question, because of course the loss of aura is in case of digitization is a huge topic, and interestingly, in the case of exhibitions, it has been raised, but so the exhibition Reenactment you also mentioned, which took place at the Fondazione Prada of Harald Seeman's show. In that case, it was not questioned that the original exhibition would lose its aura if it gets exhibited in Venice instead of Bern. So in that case, there are also interesting inconsistencies in the approach to what is having an aura, when is it being lost, and how, but maybe its fluctuation is more or less the answer to this never-ending question, probably.
Well, I think the problem is that historicity and the context intervenes in a ways that we cannot predict and we cannot totally control or reflect on. Maybe we can, but not in all the details. Speaking about this exhibition, and I also wrote for the catalog, so I was also present at the opening. I saw something, but I only understood it when I met my students in New York. They also visited, some of them, many of them visited this exhibition, came back, and I asked them about the impression. The only things that they were speaking about were Prada clothes on the waiting personnel at the exhibition. So they were fascinated by the last Prada clothes production. And that was actually the only thing they kept in mind when they came back. So it was not about Venice, it was not about exhibition, it was about Prada clothes. They were very positive and fascinated by these clothes. So, and that all this personnel was very beautiful. And so, yeah, probably it's Prada models, yeah, one mostly doesn't see them in the ordinary life. So the real shifts in the public response and in the reception, we cannot completely calculate. Yeah, it's impossible. It's like you make a photograph and you cannot 100% calculate what you actually photograph. Something happens here that you cannot predict. And then the question is, how we see that. Do we see that as something negative or something positive? For me, for example, this appearance of the Prada classes and models in the middle of Zeman ascetic, reductive, and minimalistic design, and in general confrontation between the spirit of the recent past, of the 60s, revolutionary spirit of the 60s, and spirit of our times. That was interesting. That was not something that undermined the exhibition. That was something that enriched it in a Brechtian sense, maybe. So it demonstrated not only the exhibition itself, it demonstrated the exhibiting practice in a contemporary time. So it exhibited the exhibition itself, not the old exhibition, but this actual exhibition. So it allowed us to measure the distance, maybe not to go to the past, but to measure the distance between the past in our own time.
Yeah, well, I hope that we can reach more or less similar, or at least similarly significant impact, or yeah, maybe one can call it impact, with the digital model or digital emulation of Iconoclash. And I would like to thank you for this enlightening discussion, and it will help a lot in the process.
Thank you. I was glad to be part of it.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.
Yeah, you too.